I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here I share legal and entertainment news from a psychological perspective. Today, I was just hanging out, scrolling YouTube, and simply said, I linked their video down in the description. I saw a video come up that Richard Gadd had filed a response to Fiona Harvey's lawsuit against him. For people that have no clue what we're talking about, there is a series on Netflix called Baby Reindeer, and I have my video because I reviewed the series. The series can be triggering. I did feel like he did a good job showing a side of survivors, of just the complicated nature of stalking. He did it in a way that I thought was really, I don't know, like, I work with clients that just talked about how helpful some of his portrayals were, and I did another video just reviewing Fiona's side of the lawsuit because she alleges that she was not ever incarcerated, that there are things in the show that are not true. And Richard Gadd, in his response, pretty much says what a lot of us probably thought he was gonna say, the fact that this was fictionalized. But in the series, it does start out with, "This is a true story." And I haven't read through all of this because I wanted to go through it with you all. It was just filed yesterday, and there's news reporting on it, and there are portions that have been redacted and filed under seal. And this is a declaration because Fiona Harvey did not sue Richard Gadd. She is suing Netflix. And as the creator of the show, and I think he was also a producer, I could be wrong, but as a creator of the show, he is sharing his side. Let's hop into it. And if y'all have questions or comments as we go, please let me know. I, Richard Glad, declare as follows. Background and career. He's a comedian, writer, and actor. He created and wrote and starred in the Netflix series Baby Reindeer. I have personal knowledge of the facts set forth below, and if called as a witness, could and would testify completely thereto. I submit this declaration in support of defendants Netflix Inc. and Netflix Worldwide Entertainment LLC's motion to strike. So Netflix has filed a motion to strike Fiona Harvey's lawsuit. She's suing Netflix for over $100 million. I have written and starred in several original theater shows, including, and he lists some other shows that were in the Edinburgh Festival. And he also talks about his writing a show in 2016 called Monkey See, Monkey Do, which won the Edinburgh Comedy Award for Best Comedy Show. And in that, it is his own experience of SA and struggles with his sexual identity. And in there, Monkey See, Monkey Do was a fictionalized account of real experiences in my life. I wrote and starred in the theater production of Baby Reindeer, which premiered at the 2019 Edinburgh Fringe Festival and won the Scotsman Fringe First Award for new writing and a stage award for acting excellence. Like the series, the show centered around an encounter with a stalker named Martha and addressed stalking, SA, obsession, self delusion, self destruction, and self discovery. For me, when I watched the show, I left having some sympathy and empathy for Martha. I did not, now, like, I did not come out thinking that she was this horrible monster. To me, I thought the show did a good job just showing that she was deeply troubled, he was deeply troubled, and they kind of trauma bonded together and needed each other in this very dysfunctional way. And just the links he had to do to kind of break free and for him to move forward. That's what I got from the show. It's a lot of his journey through all of this because in her filing, she, talks about his substance, and these are all things that he put in the series. And so All right. So I used real trauma as the basis for Monkey See, Monkey Do and Baby Reindeer while creating characters, scenes, dialogue, and dramatic devices to support the fictionalized story. In other words, although these stage productions were emotionally true based on real events in my life, they dramatized people, places, things, and events to tell a story. And this emotionally true comment, so a lot of us have been looking for where he said that it was emotionally true, but not 100% based on everything. Because I shared some clips from the behind the scenes of the Netflix series where he talks about kind of wanting it to tell a certain story and just adjusting things in the timeline, adjusting things to make it fit and make it work well as a series. So this is part 2, Baby Reindeer series. The series, which was released on Netflix on April 11th, 2024, is based on aspects of the Baby Reindeer stage production. So I have never seen the stage production. So I guess the series was different from the stage production. Okay. I did not know that. The series reprises characters, scenes, and dialogue from the theater version of Baby Reindeer and is a continuation of my exploration of SA, manipulation, exploitation, obsession, identity, self loathing, self destruction, and self discovery. My struggles with my own sexual identity and experiences with SA, harassment, stalking inspired me to write and star in the theater version of Baby Reindeer, and subsequently the series. The series is a dramatic work. It is not a documentary or an attempt at realism. While the series is based on my life and real events and is, at its core, emotionally true, it is not a beat by beat recounting of the events and emotions I experienced as they transpired. It is fictionalized and it is not intended to portray actual facts. And that's where they Netflix might still run into some issue because of that first opening statement of this is a true story. Even though they have at the end, they have disclaimers that this is fictionalized. I missed the disclaimer. So when I watched the show all the way through, I did not take any breaks in the show. Like I just watched it episode to episode. And when watching it, I never saw the fact that it wasn't actually true. So I will say when I watched it, there was a part of me that thought, "Oh, like this is a true story," because of that statement at the front, and I was looking for some type of disclaimer, but I skipped to the next episode. So if I had let the credits roll, I guess I might have seen that, but that's just that's part of the issue that Netflix might end up having. And, so he clarifies that it's a dramatic work and is not intended to portray actual facts. While the series is my emotionally true story, as I recall and recount it, it is not intended to depict any real persons. Instead, I created fictionalized characters, including Martha and Donnie, because he was playing Donnie. So that's where I wonder if there will be some protection. I don't know if they changed things enough because they did use actual tweets and she was able to be found relatively easy. I and I have my own feelings about her coming forward and doing the Piers Morgan interview and then getting that international audience. So I never went to search for who the real Martha was. I never went to search for that. The internet did. People did go and search for that. So stay over there. Stay over there. All right. Thank you. Interruptions. And so my 6-year-old has left. All right. All right, including Martha and Donnie, which were foils to aid my exploration of my own experiences and trauma. I intentionally used characters that did not share the actual names of any persons from my real life and wrote fictionalized dialogue and scenes. But I do think some of the language from actual emails were used, and that's where we'll see how this lawsuit plays out. Each of the characters from the series has some imagined personality traits and events that I specifically selected to make them useful as dramatic devices. And because Fiona Harvey has said that she didn't watch the series. I personally, just for my own thing, just me as a person, I don't believe that. I do believe that she did watch it. She says that people called her and it was other people that told her about it, and other people have asked her these questions. I don't know that that's true. It sounds like, mm, based on the things that I've seen, especially her public Facebook page, which it's my understanding is now private, I would think that she probably watched it, but there's no evidence that she did. I used experiences to craft the Martha character specifically to both feed into Donnie's desperate need for attention and self esteem issues and challenge him in ways that make him confront his past history and and its effects on him. The Donnie character is intended to be both a pitiable protagonist and at times his own antagonist. And I definitely got that. Like at times you kind of like, oh, like he's so sad, and then at times you're like, why is he getting in his own way? And so I thought he did a really good job writing that part. Donnie is also meant to provide a point of comparison for Martha. And while the series concludes, my hope was that the audience would recognize that neither of them was truly the aggressor nor the victim. And I think that was such an interesting way to show it. And like I said, I hadn't seen any other writer do it that way. So in Tyler Perry movies, like there's typically very clearly like the victim and then there's the aggressor. And you normally just feel bad for the victim, and then like you hate the other person. In this, I really went back and forth with just having just all of these complex things come up for both characters, especially when when Donnie in the show would talk about how he would miss the communication with Martha, how he withheld information, how he lied to his girlfriend, and I don't just all of those things I thought was pretty interesting, but I'd probably be upset if it was about me. So I intentionally, because there's a good comment from Vanessa, what I did, I skipped over the parts. I think it was episode 4 where there's a really detailed into the allege in the show, the producer that causes the harm to Donnie. I skipped that part just to not, traumatize myself or bring up anything for me, because there's some things that I just can't watch because it'll stay with me and then I'll have trouble getting it out of my head if I see it. I was able to read about it and hear about it, and I skipped through it and and understood what happened, but I didn't need to see the portrayal of everything. But it's a very artistic movie as well. The camera angles, the lighting, I just thought a lot of that was really cool. All right. Let's see. To further reaffirm for the audience how those two characters are more alike than different, I chose to end the series with Donnie sitting at a pub crying and the bartender giving him a drink for free. Precisely how Donnie first meets Martha. Yeah. The series is not a documentary representing literally true details and imagery. It is a fictionalized retelling of my emotional journey through several extremely traumatic real experiences. It is an expression of my views on stalking, harassment, and SA told through the lens of my own experiences, emotions, and self reflections. I did not write the series as as a representation of actual facts about any real person, including Fiona Harvey. Harvey is never mentioned in the series. Exactly. Ooh. Uh-oh. So part 3, real life experiences with Fiona Harvey. All right, let's get into it. This is number 14. This is part 3. In 2014, I met Harvey at the pub where I worked at the time, the Howley Arms. I noticed that Harvey looked distressed and offered her a cup of tea on the house. On noticing each other's accents, we engaged in what I took at the time to be a friendly conversation and discussed our common Scottish heritage. Following that first meeting, so I wonder, does it say that he gave it to her for free? Yes, offer. Yep. He offered her a free cup of coffee, free cup of tea. Yes. Following that first meeting, Harvey subsequently stalked and harassed me through 2014 to 2017. She frequently appeared at the pub. It quickly became clear that she had memorized my shift pattern by hanging around the pub constantly. She would then arrive just before my shift started on days I was working and sit at the end of the bar. She would also call the pub constantly on days when I was not working to check if I was in. This went on for a very long period of time. Sometimes she would stay for my entire shift, other times she would stay a few hours. Sometimes she would just say something and abruptly leave. Harvey's behavior quickly grew concerning for me. When what started out as someone sitting at the end of the bar and chatting most days turned into her directly impacting my ability to work, interjecting as I tried to serve tables and talking to customers I served at the bar. She would often try to engage with me by repeatedly trying to make jokes or banter. She would tell customers of the pub that I was a comedian and sometimes adopt smutty innuendos to try and embarrass me in front of staff. At first, I engaged with Harvey and her jokes, viewing her as harmless, but it soon became exhausting and I grew frustrated at her continual and unrelenting presence in my work life. When Harvey was around, I had my guard up. There was a particularly intense period of time when Harvey often attempted to touch me inappropriate and sometimes sexual ways. Wow. Harvey pinched and touched parts of my body, including my bum, and was generally very handsy towards me. The attention was unwelcomed, and I found myself constantly trying to dodge Harvey's advances and unwanted physical contact while serving tables. I did ask Harvey to leave me alone and to refrain from making advances towards me on several occasions. However, she ignored my requests, and as with her wider behavior, she was persistent and relentless. All right, I'm gonna take a pause here because I wonder if she thought he wasn't gonna come forward and tell his side. And I wonder if her lawyer thought that they would just settle. Netflix would just settle and that Richard Gadd wouldn't. I don't know, like, I don't know what they thought was gonna happen. It does seem like her lawyer believes her. In my opinion, during the Piers Morgan interview, it seemed like she was minimizing and she was constantly changing the number of times that she had seen him, the number of emails that she had sent. There are all these other people that have come forward confirming her behavior towards them in the past. And so uh, that would have been a red flag. And uh, even if she does win a little with this, I think she loses a lot in some of this information coming out. We're gonna keep going. And if this is triggering to hear, please just, you know, head out. I have another video coming a little bit later today. That one's also gonna be triggering, so just a warning. Around March 2015, Harvey became increasingly hostile towards me and others at the Howley Arms. Matters escalated when I confronted Harvey in the pub for falsely telling one of the regulars that we had been intimate, which she took badly. On one occasion, Harvey mentioned to a customer at the bar a a bad review about me, which she had seen online. I retorted by referring to news coverage I had seen regarding Harvey's harassment of a former member of parliament, Jimmy Ray, and his wife, Laura Ray. She briefly left the pub. When she re-entered, I was sitting on a wooden chair in the corner to the right of the bar, crouched down by the condiments cupboard, marrying up the ketchups. Harvey came behind the bar to where I was sitting and shoved me in the back of my neck. Wow. I turned to find her chastising me whilst pointing in my face. I remember that she referred to the comedian Frankie Boyle's mouth, having gotten him into trouble, and said that my mouth would get me into trouble too. She was furious, and I found her demeanor intimidating. I remember quickly apologizing out of fear she was going to hit me, as well as embarrassment at the fact a number of customers nearby were looking over. She subsequently stormed out of the pub and repeated that my mouth was going to get me into trouble as she left. The interaction was threatening, but I was also embarrassed and angry that she had affronted me in such a physical and public manner. As matters escalated, Harvey's visits to the pub became increasingly intense. At times, I would hide in the basement or on a balcony in the hope that she would grow bored and leave the pub. I was scared of Harvey and what she might be capable of, particularly having seen the articles of her behavior towards the Rays online. A lot of staff were intimidated by her too and tried to adopt different measures to get her to leave me alone as to not escalate things further. For example, staff would tell her I was not working, so she would leave or pretend that I had left the pub. Nothing deterred her, and I remember long shifts where I would sit out on the balcony or in the basement for hours waiting for her to leave. Wow. Harvey sometimes waited outside of the pub for me to finish work. She also followed me around town, sometimes very close to where I live, and she attended many of my comedy and theater performances. Often I posted about a performance online, usually on Twitter. Often when I posted about a performance online, usually on Twitter, Harvey would then turn up and occasionally be disruptive. On one occasion, I appeared in a show at Aces and Eights in London in July 2016. When, before the show started, the producer spotted Harvey in the audience. The producer subsequently went around the audience and told everyone other than Harvey that we would be pretending the show had been canceled, but that they could return 10 minutes later just to get Harvey to leave. Wow. I was then catching some fresh air when, on leaving the venue, Harvey confronted me about canceling the show. Another member of the producing team had to stand between me and Harvey, who was becoming increasingly animated towards me. In addition, I have always put had to put extensive me I've always had to put extensive measures in place to stop Harvey from attending my shows, including venues like the Soho Theater and the Bush Theater, as well as involving, producing partners Burke's Nest and, Francesca Moody Productions to help manage the situation. So these people would know that they had to do this because she would show up like this. So this is just adding more potential evidence if this does go to court, because her claim is that she never stalked him. And based on what he's saying, he's clearly describing stalking and even saying, I asked her to stop and she continued. That's like what he's saying in his declaration. Around July 2014, Harvey obtained my email address from my personal website, which at the time included my contact details to facilitate inquiries for booking comedy performances. Harvey emailed me relentlessly throughout all hours of the day and night. She would sometimes send emails at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m., and at times she would send multiple emails in a single day. I never engaged with responded to, or referred to Harvey's emails because I feared it would only make matters worse if she knew for certain that I had been receiving them. Wow. Harvey sent me thousands of emails, hundreds of voicemails, and a number of handwritten letters. These communications often included sexually explicit, aggressive, and derogatory content, hateful speech, and threats. The emails and voicemails attached to the declaration. He has the evidence. Wow. Wow. Welcome, welcome. Yes. Other victims are definitely stepping forward. I agree that the so that's how after I saw somebody talk about the fact that this is the true story of Donnie. So Donnie was writing a play and Donnie said this is a true story. Like that's what Donnie typed. And so that's how that's how I see it. Now if this was about me, I don't like it, but I wouldn't come forward and do all of this because to me, this makes it so much worse because now all of these emails that are attached to the declaration are coming forward. And I think Piers Morgan, because right before I did this one, I saw so somebody got these emails, I think. Wow. And I'll see if they're at the end of this. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Um, wow. Most of the emails referenced in this declaration were provided to the police. Below, I provide some examples of the types of emails I received from Harvey. Harvey regularly monitored my social media and sent me emails discussing photos posted on my Twitter account. On January 29th, 2015, she sent me an email with the subject "Yummy Mummy," which stated, "I see your mom is on Twitter." Oh, that's weird. I looked up yours to see what was going on in your head, and you retweeted her? That's just weird. That's weird. Attached here too is Exhibit 1, a true and correct copy of the January 29th, 2015 email from Harvey. On September 17th, 2016, Harvey emailed me, "I love the photo of you sleeping on Twitter." Attached here too as Exhibit 2 is it true? Yeah. So for every email, they're just gonna say this is true and accurate. Harvey's emails frequently contained hateful speech and derogatory, racist, and homophobic language. For example, Harvey told me, "You look gay," in one of those online photos and stated, "Ooh, I know unalive." Ooh, that's just that is Islamophobic as well. Wow. I'm gonna skip over that one. In another email, Harvey admitted, "No wonder I'm a racist." And they included this one. May 2016, Harvey stated, "I can't stand this gay business. It makes me squirm, actually. Yuck." Wow. Harvey made frequent personal attacks and threatened me in her emails. On January 25th, 2015, Harvey sent me a lengthy email acknowledging that she had been banned from the pub where he was employed, calling me naive, ugly, stupid, and badly educated. Wow. Insulting and threatening several of my colleagues at the pub and threatening me with litigation. Like, how can you sue me? Like, for what? You did all okay, that's just weird. Harvey also threatened me to move back to Gaslow, a Catholic mafia kind of place full of ooh, wow. So I'm not even gonna read that part. That's just offensive. Wow. On January 25th, 2016, Harvey mailed me a multi page handwritten letter, which was barely legible. The letter claimed that Harvey did not read emails because she was allergic to emails, called me a prick, and demanded that I call her because she was fed up with the fanning about. And they have the letter. Harvey threatened that I had a big enemy in the acting world. "I'm not telling you who it is, but they are saying you are all image, image, and So there's I think something is a pain in the butt. Frankly, I'm not surprised narcissists are like that. Wow. Gosh. On September 13th, 2016, Harvey also threatened that I needed to shut my ignorant little failed actor mouth because I was finished. Harvey also made derogatory remarks about my sexuality in this email, stating she was glad we had never dated because you are gay and I'd have AIDS. That's just homophobic as well. Harvey frequently made threats of physical violence in her emails, and one so I'm just though there is physical violence, we are gonna skip over those. Harvey also sent me emails discussing her plans to run for political office to displace Labor Party members, including claiming that she was on 4 short lists for seats in parliament. That didn't happen. Harvey also sent me emails describing her troubling interactions with others. For instance, on November 18, 2014, she wrote that by the way Piers gas okay, I can't even I it's hard to read her writing because sometimes the way that she writes things doesn't make sense. Okay. Okay, so there's more sexually explicit emails. I can't oh gosh. So there's just a lot of homophobic, xenophobic, racist, Islamophobic, like there's just a lot of emails. And if someone had known that they had done all these things, you would think that they would have stayed quiet, but I wonder if she thought that he would never come forward. I don't know. And once again, the lawyer supporting her, I wonder if they're gonna back out because the lawyer supporting her, it's my understanding that lawyer has said that if it turns out that the emails and all this was really true, that lawyer might have a difficulty representing her, but we'll see if that actually happens. So there's just more emails describing her body and my face looks like this because they're talking about menstrual cycle and just like but things that you wouldn't say to someone, I wouldn't think, but okay. Okay. On June 22nd, 2017, Harvey publicly tweeted about my play Monkey See, Monkey Do. Harvey stated that she wouldn't believe a word that came out of my mouth about essay I suffered because she had bitter experiences with me. Wow. After years of enduring Harvey's stalking, harassment, and harm threats, I went to the police in February 2016. The police warned me that police intervention might exacerbate the situation and lead to further prolonged contact from her, and recommended that they refer Harvey to the appropriate mental health community intervention team for support in this case. Rather than issue a first instance harassment warning, attached here to as Exhibit 43 is a true and correct copy of the February 10th, 2016 email thread between me and the police. Ooh, email thread. He has the receipts. At this time, the harassment became less frequent, so I agreed with the police officer's recommendation. I think there's like a former somebody, a temp from like a psychiatric office that has talked about having interactions with Fiona Harvey, and I don't know that that person should have talked about what they said, and so that's why I'm not gonna go into any of those details because so if I had a receptionist and let's say that person had negative interactions with a client, that person could never publicly talk about any of that, because of HIPAA, because that would be protected, um, yeah, so, but yeah, okay. However, in the following months, I continued to receive hundreds of emails from Harvey. And in May 2016, I reached back out to the police to express my concern and reopen the harassment case. I attached an example of one of Harvey's emails. And so that I'm not even going to read that. Okay. In, Sep- in September 2016, Harvey obtained my telephone number. This happened at a point when I was away on holiday in Croatia and had switched on the out of office function on my email account. The out of office reply contained my phone number, and though and I had not thought of that. I had not thought of like if Harvey emailed me during this period, she would receive an automatic reply, which included my telephone number in the footer of the email. Once she obtained my phone number, Harvey began calling me and leaving hundreds of voicemails. I do not have a record of all the voicemails, but I have many hours of voicemails from Harvey that I recorded and still have. The voicemails included graphic details about Harvey's intimate stories about, yeah, catching sexually transmitted diseases, threats towards him and his family, his coworkers, and other victims of Harvey stalking and harassment. Over just a few days, in September 2016, Harvey left me hours of voicemails. As soon as my voicemail box cut her off, she would immediately call back and leave another voicemail. Because back in those days, like at a certain point, so like I guess after 2 minutes or 5 minutes or something, voicemails would just like end, and it wouldn't let you go on forever and ever. During this string of voicemails, Harvey profusely insulted me, calling me a bipolar alcoholic and claiming the whole of Gaslow hated me. Just like just horrible things that were allegedly said to him. Wow. On September 17th, 2016, I emailed the police informing them that Harvey again left hours of voicemails. I also prepared a document outlining the particularly threatening, aggressive moments from the voicemails for the police. I then coordinated with the police to hand off an SD card with the voicemail recordings on September 19th, 2016. And so he's attached those emails. On September 19th, 2016, Harvey left me another string of voicemails during which she claimed to have information on my family and again warned me not to speak to the police, stating she was so angry at me, shouting my mouth off. In this voicemail, Harvey claimed to know 100,000 lawyers, not even just one lawyer, not even two, not even 100,000 lawyers, and threatened me, "You're not as bright as you think you are. I'm 25,000 steps ahead of you." She stated that she would create World War III over a sketch referencing my comedy shows. She went into explicit detail about her sex life and again insulted the same coworker, claiming to have reported her to immigration law and threatening that she would stop her from obtaining employment anywhere in the country. Wow. Harvey also admitted, "I'm a racist," and that she wanted to boot all Pakistanis out of the country. Whew, okay. September 21st, like, this has been, like, 4 days, alright? I'm coming back to the comments. This is like 4 days. This is like 4 days. Wow. I would not have said, and Christina, that's why it's hard for me to read some of this. Her words are very disjointed. Seems like she's putting her disturbed thoughts to paper, her streaming consciousness. And she does like a lot of misspellings and they included that in the show, and that's how people were able to find her because they included some of the like the ways that she misspelled things. And all right. So, because we started, so because all this, because I think we started, because I want to go back. So this was started in September, and then we have September 17th, September 19th, and now we're on September 21st. I followed up with the police and sent another email attaching 30 examples of emails from Harvey ranging from 2014 to 2016. In addition to the emails previously referenced, I also attached, and it's going to be bad. He attached another email. Um, on September 21st, 2016, Harvey left me another string of lengthy voicemails, which included aggressively racist rhetoric for several minutes stating, "I want," okay, so it's just horrible. Okay, we're now to maybe the next week. On September 27th, 2016, Harvey left me another threatening voicemail stating, "I cannot express how angry I am with the way you set me up. I know about you and your family. Ooh, stay in Croatia. And that's my final word." It's just, ugh, okay. I emailed the police again with a list of the most intense parts of voicemails and coordinated with the police to drop off a pen drive with all of the information regarding Fiona Harvey on it. Wow. By this time, Harvey's harassment had been plaguing my life for over 2 years. I was fearful. I continually changed my daily routines to avoid her and would not spend time in parts of London I knew Harvey frequented. Indeed, I am still apprehensive about going to certain parts of London because of her. I could not sleep. I did not. I When I did sleep, I would wake up in the night sweating. I spent countless weekends noting down Harvey's threatening voicemails. I was panicked and paranoid and he's going into all of this, and Netflix needed him to do this because she's claiming that the show has caused her to not be able to sleep, and the emotional distress that the show has caused her, because she's saying it's all false, and he's saying, yeah, everything in it isn't true, but like, no, you really did emotionally, like you did, it's emotionally true. That's what he's claiming. And I don't know if legally what emotionally true, I don't know. This is the first time I think an emotional truth has come up in this type of Netflix series, and Netflix put it in its like true crime section, I think, because true crime is really like it's trending, people like following it. And so I think that's why Netflix put it in that category, but it's not. The baby reindeer story is not a true story, but that's where I'm not sure if Netflix is going to just get a little dinged for that part. I don't know. The cumulative, but and it would pain me if she got any money from this, and really, I would hope the court, if something did happen, that any money could go towards a mental health treatment, just that she's not personally getting, like, if she did get, like, $100,000 or something, I don't know. If she did get some money, that she's not benefiting from having done all of this. And then he just so happens to tell the story and doesn't tell it exactly, and so then she gets to kinda sue him. Those are just my thoughts as a psychologist, not a lawyer. I hope a lawyer does break this down and cover this. Um, so I enjoyed the show. It's intense. The show is very, very intense. And I skipped a large section of episode 4 because that was kind of the most triggering episode for me personally. There are a lot of triggering themes. There have been some really great recaps here on YouTube. All right. The cumulative effect of all of Harvey's actions was enormous. It was exhausting and extremely upsetting to deal with her constant personal interactions in the pub, her following me around London, including where I lived, because she denied that, and her relentless and deeply unpleasant communications. As I explained above, I was frightened about what she might be capable of given the progressive hostility and escalation in her communications and volume of her conduct, because that's just a lot. That's just exhausting. For many months of speaking to the police, I eventually obtained okay. So, but a warning isn't incarceration, but he did receive a first instance harassment warning against Harvey. After I obtained that warning, the emails and voicemails stopped, but her behavior did not stop completely. For example, Harvey sent me another handwritten letter along with some underpants. The letter stated, "You've not unblocked your email, so I have not checked my emails." He didn't email you. What are you talking about? All right. Here are some lucky underpants. Ugh. The outside of the envelope claimed, "If you unblocked your email, you would see I've sent you good wishes." No, like he doesn't. No. No, no, no. This is a problem. Eh, and because when we talk about mental health diagnoses, and I do not know what her diagnosis is, from the things that I've seen, the places where my mind goes is to like some personality dysfunction, also to like some romantic delusions, some like obsessive kind of traits. Um, but really, this lack of ability to see how her actions impact other people, just based on what Richard Gadd and other alleged victims have come forward and said. Throughout my in person interactions with Harvey, I asked her on a number of occasions to stop engaging in unwanted behavior towards me. And it's sad that victims have to say this, but they do. They have to say, "I said no," even though consent, you know what I mean? Like, because even if I'm given nonverbal of like, I ignored you and but they want to see this, I told them to stop. In particular, I asked Harvey to stop attending my gigs, to refrain from making advances towards me, and to stop speaking to customers about me. But it was like trying to reason with someone who knew no bounds. I love that. That's a good statement. It was like trying to reason with someone who knew no bounds. I did not change my number because I strongly felt that it was up to her to stop calling, and it was morally wrong of me to change my number based on someone harassing me. I get that. Like, why should I have changed my number and remember a new number, have to update everybody and go through all these things when they're the ones that are doing the wrong thing? I felt it was up to her to adjust her behavior around me as the instigator and aggressor in the situation. I did download software apps, which I thought should block calls from unknown numbers, but none of these worked. Wow. Overall, it was incredibly stressful and worrying time with a sustained period of relentless behavior taking place over several years. It is impossible to be exhaustive in setting out all of Harvey's conduct, as there were so many instances of unwelcome personal interaction and attempts to engage, as well as deeply troubling communication. However, the above provides a microcosm of the sheer scale of her targeted harassment towards me. Knowledge of other victims harassed by Harvey. I'm also aware that she has stalked other individuals and had aggressive fantasies about others. For example, okay, so November 18, 2014, Harvey stated, I really wish my sister would drop. Mm, I I'll have her 2-bit. Oh gosh. I can't like the she's talking that way about her sister? I'm gonna skip that part. That's deeply troubling. On March 3rd, 2015, she sent me an email threatening to shut down an estate planning's attorney's firm because she has pushed me too far. And like, why is she telling this to him? Like, why would she? And he's including all these emails, of course. Wow. And so I'm gonna skip all of that part. Okay, Harvey comes forward. Okay. Throughout the process of writing the Baby Reindeer play and the series, I intentionally did not refer to Harvey by name in any way. When viewers began speculating about the real life inspirations for various characters, I urged them to stop, and he did. He shared an Instagram shot of like a and I never intended the series to identify any real person as Martha, including Harvey. Martha Scott is not. Uh-oh. Okay, so this is this part. Okay, so I'm gonna skip that. Uh-oh. Wait a minute, let me see. No. Uh-oh. I think I don't have the rest of it. No. Oh, okay, there we go. I do have it. Martha Scott is not Fiona Harvey. Like the characters in the series, Martha is a fictional character with fictional personality traits that are very different from Harvey's. Because so the actress that plays Martha, the laugh that she does, that infectious laugh, that is her natural laugh, and she's now kind of afraid to, like, do it in because like, that's just the way that she laughs, and the actress that played Martha said she never listened to any of the voicemails. The way that she plays the character is based on the way the character was written. This is not based on Fiona. That's what because Fiona was upset about, like, certain aspects. Her lawyer said that they looked alike. Fiona said they didn't look alike, and she was making very disparaging comments about that actress, and she can kinda be a little, fat phobic as well. Like, she was saying very disparaging things about the actress who was absolutely gorgeous. Like, it's just, ugh. Okay, sorry. Fiona identified and also the actress that played her is much younger, and she had to, like, make herself look older in order to kinda get the part. She played it beautifully. The role of Martha was played just masterfully, and I do think she'll probably win. I think she's been nominated for, I wanna say, an Emmy. I do think that she'll likely win awards for that portrayal because it was just the range of emotion from severe depression, almost catatonic, to like just this aggressive, and just the range that she played was just absolutely phenomenal. Harvey identified herself to the press as Martha after 3 or 4 other people previously and falsely identified as Martha, oh, by members of the public. Okay. So I didn't even know that 3 other people had previously been thought to be Martha, and he didn't say anything. I was surprised that Harvey appeared on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Though I've only watched certain segments, I understand she claimed she was the inspiration for the character for the Martha character. And she never sent me thousands of emails, nor left me any voicemails. She harassed and stalked me over years. And since her interview, other individuals have contacted me through my agents and publicists and said they were harassed by Harvey, but were too scared of her to come forward. I declare under perjury, under the la la, that all this is correct. Wow. 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 She came forward. She's the one that came forward and said, "I'm the one," and it almost seemed like she wanted the notoriety of it, but then she wanted to be the victim. She wanted to be the, "Poor me, how could he do this to me? All of this is the worst," and so that was very strange to me. It was strange to me. She was the one that came forward, and so I don't know what the court is gonna do, because I do think some things in her claim, um, could be could be accurate. The fact that some identical tweets were used. Now she could have privated her account. She didn't. Yes. So he never said that it was her. She went, and I have the Piers Morgan interview linked down in the description, but she's the one that came forward and said, "I am Martha. This was based on me." And then she denied doing any of the things and being a convicted blah, blah, blah. But she denied all those things. But my biggest issue with this whole thing was she was the one that decided to go on this huge platform and say that it was her. And Dominique, I wonder if this was a way for her to kind of get back at him, but her lawsuit did not sue him at all. Her lawsuit only sued Netflix. And Netflix, does technically have a duty of care, blah, blah, blah. Because Piers asked, did Netflix reach out to you to see if you needed any support, or, because I think Netflix did reach out to Laura Ray when she was identified by people. And I don't know what they said. I don't like she's come forward and mentioned some things about that. Um, I truly feel like the story he told, the way it all went, it seemed like it came from a place that was healing and not like a wounded, scarred place. Because once I didn't leave Baby Reindeer thinking, I saw this triumphant journey of Donnie. I saw it as the journey of Donnie and how he kind of came to terms with his sexuality. He, had to kind of fight his own demons, and that's just how I saw it. I didn't see it those other ways. I do think, because I don't know if I kept it linked in this video or if I have it in the first video, because the tweets were left with the incorrect statements, people did find her on X relatively quickly. There are reporters and things that did definitely find her. And so, thank y'all so much for watching. This was a pop-up stream. I am a licensed psychologist. I cover court cases and then also cover some entertainment things. I am going to be talking about Sonia Massey, and so that starts at 5:45. you will be redirected to that stream. If you don't want to watch that one, please enjoy YouTube, enjoy the rest of your day. If you would like to follow over to that stream, I will be starting that one at 5:45. I will not be playing the video of her of of the incident. I will be talking about it. Some new things have come forward about the officer that's been arrested. And so I want to talk about those things, but I will not be playing the actual video. And so I am not going to be streaming on Saturday. So I normally stream Tuesdays and Saturdays. My son turned 7 this week. And so we will be celebrating his birthday on Saturday. If I do a short or something, I might have it come out on Saturday. We'll see. But I will see y'all either for the Sonia Massey coverage or I will see you all next week. I hope you have a great one. Bye.